Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, I'm going to analyze one of the best games of the month. It's going to be a freestyle position. This is Magnus Carlsen playing white versus Vincent Keimer playing black. So I think the first thing we should do is understand a little bit the position, because every position in Chess 960 is going to be a bit chaotic, a little bit hard to understand. However, I think as a good rule of thumb, you have to develop your knights first. I have seen in many positions that you gotta develop your knights first. In this case, this knight is kind of the most awkward. So I think one of the best moves will be to put it here on b3. The same thing for black, right? You want to activate this knight. I think also another good move is to activate this knight. All right, so the second thing you might want to do, and I'm gonna change here the image, is move up to 3 pawns to help develop your pieces. That is also a rule in normal chess, classical chess. Now, because you're gonna help your pieces develop, maybe your bishops, you wanna develop your bishops as well as your knights. So okay, like the game starts with d4, d5. Magnus also considers something like c4, going for c4 and c5, but he can see a very clear plan with this. So okay, he's going for d4, d5. Now knight b3, okay, developing the worst piece in the position, the knight f6, okay, which is helping protect this pawn with the bishop. Now he's breaking one of the rules, like don't move the same piece twice in the position, knight c5. I'm gonna also overlap here the board. I'm gonna overlap so we can see how much control we have over these 4 squares as well as this outer square. But here we're breaking the rule because we're targeting this pawn. So it's perfectly fine. Now knight d6, h4, h4 with the idea of opening this diagonal for the bishop. And now, as we see, we're moving up to 3 pawns, right? We have moved 2 pawns. The same thing for black. So I think one thing to understand about this position is these pieces are looking great. The bishop is great. The rook is on the c file. I think I wouldn't really move this rook so much. And then the bishop can be activated. Also, this is a good diagonal. The same thing for this bishop. It's a great diagonal. The problem is the pawns, right? These 3 pawns are really awkward. Like in move 2, in move I am targeting this pawn. So yeah, it's not great to have this pawn here. Now that's why we get something symmetrical like h4 and a5, because now this bishop is gonna have some squares to escape. Okay, so one of the top moves in this position after pawn b6 is to put the knight here on a6, which Magnus Carlsen didn't see. Is the top engine move, because after the bishop moves, now you can start thinking about putting this bishop here, protecting this knight, and it's gonna be really awkward, right? You can also coordinate your knight with this bishop, but yeah, it was just hard. It's just hard to see and understand the full implications of that move. So okay, we get knight c to d3, c5, striking in the center. As we saw before, these 3 pawns are really awkward, and now you can freely push these pawns on this side of the board, as your king is safe on this side. And we are also having some symmetry of the light square, a dark square bishop. Okay, so Magnus protects with c3, defending this pawn, c4. Now knight, we have to move the knight f4, b5, keep pushing these pawns, f3, e5. So e5 is an inaccuracy, as it's weakening. First, it's kind of weakening the defense of this king. The second, it's not super obvious. It's not super obvious how to punish this e5 move, but you kind of have to do something. At this moment, Magnus Carlsen evaluated that his pieces are well developed, and it's not obvious for black to find that way. I'm just quoting from Magnus. So yeah, the pieces are well developed. I guess you can get your bishop anytime to this diagonal. The rook is great. The queen is also good. I think the only underdeveloped piece is this knight, right? It's the only piece that I would develop, but you are doing fine here. D takes on e5, f takes on e5. Okay, now we have this beautiful, it's not an actual outpost. For this knight to be an outpost, we have to have the e4 pawn, but it's looking great. Now we have a lot of activity with this knight, and yeah, it's also hard to just to play around it. Now we get queen takes on h4, taking this pawn, and now we have we get g4. Yeah, g4, you have to, again, it's the same geometry of, okay, these 3 pawns were awkward, these 3 pawns were awkward here, so you have to start pushing it, so you can start developing your knight, for example, to g2. Now we have this threat. This is checkmate. If you do something like, I don't know, you do something like rook g1, this blunder is checkmate. So now you have to protect e3, defending the pawn. Okay, there is something else just to show it for fun. I think this might classify it as a Novotny team. So now you can play knight b6. Knight b6, now you're stopping the threat of checkmate. If they take here, now you can take this knight that is hanging. So yeah, just for fun, because we have some beautiful geometry here of the board. And now let's just think about how much control we have over the center. We have this beautiful knight, this great bishop, as well as this great bishop. But yeah, there is some threats. We have to manage this threat here of this checkmate. Okay, so after e3, we get the retreat of this queen h6, going still going after this pawn. Now king g2 is a bit of an inaccuracy, but there is some plans here. Magnus Carlsen was thinking about this idea of trapping the queen, right? Because we have now, okay, we might have this threat of taking the pawn, and this rook is attacking the queen. He was also thinking, for example, something like rook c2, playing rook c2, and now you can have rook d2, and let's say, for example, the king moves to e8. Now you can go bishop g1, and this queen is hanging, right? This is gonna have to, they're gonna have to drive the queen. So if the queen takes, now you can play rook h2, and this queen is trapped. So that was one idea. That was the idea behind king h2. So trying to trap the queen. Okay, so let's go to queen e6. As you might see, going back to the control of the center, it's not generally a great idea to start with the queen in this attack. If you have your bishop here and possibly your queen behind it, then you might have a stronger attack, maybe. But just as a notion, as an intuition, it's difficult to start the attack with the queen, which is what black is doing. Now, okay, we get e4, knight c7, knight c2, castle, okay, knight c3. So knight c3, we are defending this pawn, and we have a lot of harmony. I think we have, at this point, Magnus has a lot of harmony with these 2 knights defending this square. I mean, this knight defending this square. You can also take here, it's completely fine. So queen e8, we get queen e8, queen e2, getting out of this pin, right? We don't want to get into trouble, because if they take here, they can take 1, 2 times, and they also have this knight will be hanging. So yeah, this is just intuition, just to protect this square, queen e2. Okay, knight takes on d5, knight takes on d5, h5. Okay, so we have to do something about this pawn, and we move this. Magnus goes for bishop g3, bishop e6, g5. Okay, g5. I think Magnus was considering. Okay, I'm gonna write. I had no idea how to evaluate this position. I didn't particularly think it was worse, but I didn't think that it was better. I was just playing move by move. So he didn't know exactly what to do with this threat. I guess you have to either take, but yeah, you also get into a lot of troubles if they take back with the rook. So yeah, it's not super easy to play in this position. That's why I think his g5 is completely fine. G5. So now rook b7. Okay, rook c to d1, h4. H4 is actually a mistake. So h4, now the computer wants white to go here and trade bishops. It's kind of one of the best moves in the position, but is still playable, and it's easier to play for white. So now we get queen d8, targeting this pawn, and now this is also, there is a threat here, right? Like if they take this bishop and you take back, you're gonna have to defend. You're gonna have to defend very painfully this position. This pawn is hanging. So Magnus Carlsen goes queen e1. Queen e1 defending this bishop, and now you don't have this problem. So rook h5, queen g3, knight f5. Yeah, this was a strange, very strange sacrifice. I think the idea of going knight to f5 is to crush through this position. You have this alignment of this battery, rook and queen. So there might be something here. I think that's what Keimer imagined. But it doesn't work. As Magnus Carlsen is saying, the losing move. This doesn't work, but I didn't really see what he can do. So yeah, now the problem is, okay, you just take. I think one of the best moves in the position is to take back with the bishop. But yeah, Keimer takes back with the rook. And now yeah, you don't have much compensation for this. At least this king looks kind of weak. Also, these are two beautiful bishops on the long diagonals, but yeah, there isn't much you can really do to punish this. And now after we get this bishop f7, we also have this discover check, right? So it never is played, but it's possible. It's still possible to play it. So now after we get this check, queen d2 check, king gets out of the way, rook h4 takes, now queen takes, bishop d5, bishop e4, bishop takes, we take back with the queen, and now black is down the exchange. Is playing queen and bishop versus queen and rook. It's a lot of disadvantage. So, and now black is gonna run out of checks. So okay, we get queen d2 check, king moves, king c7, f6, and now this is a huge threat of getting another queen. So f2 check, another check, we get out of the queen, out of the check, and now black resigns, because now you cannot really give more checks with black. And okay, you can keep giving, for example, another check here, but now this is a huge threat, and you can even start trading pieces, no problem. So yeah, this is where Keimer resigns, and Magnus Carlsen made history, 9 out of 9 in this freestyle tournament in Germany. I hope you like this video, this analysis, and comment if you would like to see more freestyle chess analysis, which is really interesting. And yeah, it gives us a lot of flexibility and fun to play. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Take care.